All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Today's episode of Get Real with ECAR is featuring Sesntrilock as a topic, and we do have Freddie Robinson and Kim Cassidy, who are Sesntrilock staff. You guys can tell me what your titles are, because I forget. And this is a free-flowing conversation about anything you want to talk about related to Sesntrilock and probably more. And as an incentive to get on this call today, we did let our membership know that whoever has not previously activated their Sesntrilock system card, whatever you call it, if you got on this call and learned a little bit about Sesntrilock, then we would waive that $30 activation fee. So thanks everyone for coming on. Thank you, Freddie and Kim, and go ahead, Freddie, take it away.
Sure. So my name is Freddie Robinson. I am the Customer Development Manager for the showing service aspect for Sesntrilock itself. I know Kim is going to be the person that's more the representative for the lockbox side when it does come to that for you all. And then we also have from our team Devin Beck and Greg Sheldon, who was attending as well. I'll let them introduce themselves. Hey. I'll let Kim go first.
So I'm the customer success manager, and I work with Susie and her staff, on a day-to-day basis, basically just answering lockbox questions, anything that really comes up with Sesntrilock. And then brought Freddie out because he's the expert on the showing service, and I know enough to be dangerous, but not enough to probably answer all your questions. I'd be saying, let me check with Freddie or Devin. So I wanted to bring him in here to better answer those questions for you. So
do we want to just leave it? Want to start with questions? You guys have burning questions on your mind that we'll start with? Let's, who wants to start that?
All right, let's see. Hello.
Nobody has a burning question. All right. So, Lorna, I'm going to ask you, why are you on the call? What do you want to learn today?
I know nothing. Well, I've been living under a rock, I guess, because I have my Sentry key, but the Sesntrilock, when I read this, I said, where have I been? I guess maybe
hold on 1 second.
I missed the message about Sesntrilock, this new program with the $30. I didn't even know about this.
Okay, well, so it was new in 2015. We rolled it out at the end of, we signed the agreement in 2015 and rolled it out, I think, at the new year of 2016. So
there you go.
We had it for 4 years, but you obviously don't use it. Is that correct?
I use the Sentry key. That's why I use that. But I mean, the Sesntrilock, I'm not familiar. Really, I'm not. What were you talking? I have a Sentry key app, which I use for my key, my lock boxes, but what is this additional Sesntrilock? I don't know. That's where I said I must have been living under a rock. Of course, I just came in. 18 is when I became the brokerage, and I didn't know about the Sesntrilock. So, inform me.
Go ahead, Freddie.
Oh, I thought there was a round table going up. Sorry. The Sesntrilock aspect is, that's the company that we are. So the Sesntrilock is the provider of.
You're welcome. All right. Bye-bye.
The Sesntrilock is the provider of the lockbox services that you're currently using. The Sentry Key real estate app that you're using is just another aspect of the same lockbox system. So it's really, one and the same, where you don't really have a difference between the two. So it's all under the same platform.
Okay, well, what is this other fee? That's what I don't understand. Okay, maybe what is this $30 activation? Have I had this? Because I've never activated. Is it a different app?
No, everyone who wanted to start using Sesntrilock right from 2016 on had to pay a $30 activation fee.
Okay.
And anyone new coming into ECAR, brand new agent joining as a brand new member, has to pay the $30 activation fee to begin using it and accessing lockboxes.
Okay. Well, if I'm using a lockbox,
you probably paid it then already a long time ago.
Then, or with the broker I was working with at that time, possibly paid for it. I knew. Okay.
I wouldn't question it. You've got access. You're good to go.
Okay. But is that Sentry Connect on the app?
So Sentry Connect is just another aspect of the app, the Sentry Key Real Estate.
Okay, if I use my email and my login that I usually use for, it says I don't have an account.
Right. So Sentry Connect is going to be the method that you're going to use to give other people access, temporary access in a more controlled manner, where you're having them to register to use the Sentry Connect application to gain access into your listings.
All right, maybe, okay, that's where, we're not discussing that today then.
We can.
Okay, because that's where I don't have an account in there. It says Sentry Connect. I put in my normal and it says,
Lorna, no, the way you log in is the way you log in using your Smart MLS ID.
Right.
So it would be E Gallagher,
Yep.
first initial dash ECAR, and then at the time, on January of, I think last year, we made everybody change their password to 6 or more characters. So if you don't have that information, I can look it up to you and email it to you. So you have that information.
Okay.
I can jump in there just for a second on that. I know you mentioned Sentry Connect. Just to clarify on that, as a subscriber to the Sesntrilock system, you are already, sounds like you're already using the SentryKey real estate app. That's the app that you use on a daily basis to access boxes within the association. If there is a circumstance where you needed to have somebody access one of your boxes and they have not already subscribed to use the SentryKey real estate app, we have a temporary version of the app, and that is Sentry Connect. So as the listing agent, you could grant access to somebody for one of your boxes for a set period of time, and that person then would be downloading just the Sentry Connect app for temporary access that you granted. So just to clarify, those are the two different aspects.
All right. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Too many things,
Well, so if Lorna is Lorna has the system and she wants to give out a 1-day code, she should really be using the Sentry Connect app.
She could use either one. So the system allows her to generate a 1-day code, which is also another way of giving temporary access, or she could grant temporary access through the Sentry Connect app. The subtle differences there is obviously the 1-day code is a code that the person that you're giving it to types in the box. The access is stored in the box, but you don't get an immediate notification about that access when they're using the code. If you had granted temporary access through the Sentry Connect app, that access is actually time restricted. So you would be saying they could only get in from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., whatever time is appropriate. And when they use that app to access your box, you would get a notification. So there are some advantages to providing temporary access through Sentry Connect compared to the 1-day code. But you have those options available to you.
Yeah, I've used it through the regular key app. That's how I've used it. Okay.
All right.
And I know what that is taking over is used to be called the contractor code. So a lot of listing agents that are using the system will use this if like you have a home inspector going in and you can't be there and they have to pick up the radon. You're giving them that access for that time frame, and then like he said, you can turn it on, turn it off, by giving him a time frame. Or if the homeowner has work being done and they can't be there and they ask you, or you can say, I can give them a time frame. I can do 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So they're here between 9 and 2, accessing your house, repairing what they need to be. And then, like he said, you'll know when they've gone in and leave. And then if there's issues, then that issue was between that time frame. So that's what that kind of is covering. Or you still can use it as the 1-day code if you wanted to also.
Okay.
Don Miller, I thought, had a question, Don?
Yes, I do. I think I may have been one of those that I thought I had my 6-digit code set up, but apparently I don't, because the last few times I've tried to get into Sesntrilock, my app is, I don't want to say it's worthless, but let's just say it's not working for me. And I keep on having to contact the agent for the same-day codes. So it's like I don't have Sesntrilock. Is there somebody I can talk to offline to verify my username, my password, my ECAR-D Miller, and all that stuff?
Yep. I will reach out to you afterwards, Don. This is Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Now,
Okay.
I know a lot of people don't, are you on a current smartphone or is your phone older?
No, I rebought my next new one 3 months ago.
Okay, yep, I will get all that information and we'll work over the phone with you trying to log in, and if it gives you a problem, maybe taking it off and redoing the app. We'll see how that works.
It's one of those things, every time I'm at the front door, I said, oh, I got to call ECAR or somebody. And then when I get back in the car, it's sort of like, okay, on to the next subject.
Yeah, no, I'll reach out to you after we're done.
Thank you.
Okay, Rachel, I know you had a couple questions, I think. You're muted.
I don't think I did have questions, but I have one has come up since we started this with regard to the one-day codes. I am in an area where a lot of the realtors in my area do not have Sesntrilock. Many of them are part of the Greater Hartford board, so they use SuperKey or nothing at all. So my issue is I'm constantly issuing one-day codes, and what bothers me is that I have no record of them going in and going out because of the one-day code.
There's no job for that.
And I just wonder if there might be at some point a fix in that system to allow the lockbox owner to be notified of timeframes when people are going in and out.
So I'll
Did I-
answer that,
did I-
Rachel. My name's Kim. I'm the customer success manager at Sesntrilock. So as we were mentioning, Sentry Connect would be perfect for you. It sounds like that would basically solve all of your issues, because you can actually grant Sentry Connect access up to 14 days in advance, up to a period of 2 weeks. So let's say I always use example, like let's say you're going on vacation somewhere and you don't want to have to be bothered with giving a one-day code on that particular day. You can grant access in advance as long as the Sentry Connect, we call them maybe like an out of town or non-Sesntrilock user. You would just need their email address. They would have to download the Sentry Connect app.
Yeah.
It's free to them. And then once they're entering those properties, you're going to get the lockbox owner or the listing agent, if it's different, gets those showing notifications when they're accessing the box. Every time they come in the property and they leave, you get those showing notifications. So you have really good record of that. Also, that all that information would be in your access log of the app. As the lockbox owner, you would be able to see all of that. So it's basically like an extended one-day code without having to give that out each time.
Yeah. So let me throw a scenario at you. So I put a new listing on the market and I get 10 requests for showings that day, all with agents who are not part of our board and do not use Sesntrilock. So each one of those 10 agents have to download the app onto their phone in order to be using Sentry Connect.
Yeah, so anybody who's not a Sesntrilock subscriber that's not in your association, which I believe Kent Washington is the only one that uses Sesntrilock, that would be able to have that access without having to download that separate app. The nice thing is once they've downloaded the Sentry Connect app, they don't have to download it again. You would just be able to grant them access. So if there's somebody who's viewing multiple properties, once they download it, then it's just a matter of whoever that listing agent is knowing their email address and then just granting access. It's through your app. It's really simple. So yeah, initially, yes, all 10 agents would have to download it just for that very first time.
Okay.
Your
I'm
question?
confused here. If they don't download the Sentry Connect app and Rachel gives them a one-day code, Rachel has no way to determine who went in the property. I'm
Correct.
All you would see in the access log is that a one-day code was issued, but there's no way to confirm it was used. Because
but Rachel
they're
could
typing
manually write down the person and the code and keep track of it that way.
I mean,
Yeah,
she
but
would keep track of who
counterproductive.
she's giving a code to, but she wouldn't really know if they access the property.
Right. I have
would
no
be
idea
able-
what time they go in, what time they come out, any of that
Right.
stuff.
Sentry Connect would solve all of that. So again, yeah, they all have to download it, but once they've downloaded the first time, then they're good to go. And it's, you know, then anybody can grant them access and you see all of those accesses.
Mm.
Is there any way
Actually,
is there any way Sesntrilock can make it so at least there's a phone number tied to the one-day code without the other person having to download an app?
I mean, all that's going to do is keep track of their information. It doesn't tell you that they got in, though. There's no way to know. I mean, you can type whatever you want in the box when you're giving a one-day code. You can type their name, their phone number, their company, but you don't really know if they went in. You don't know if they accessed. You don't know if, you know, so.
There's no electronic log of that code that opened the box?
Susie, this is Greg Hanner here. Let me chime in if I can.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a electronic record of access, and what happens is it gets picked up the next time someone with the app, with the Sesntrilock app access, goes to the property. That will get picked up and uploaded to Sesntrilock, so it is 100% in the log for that box, and it does have the days and times, but it's not like the access when a person that is not using a one-day code. Those people, when they go in, we can see it immediately unless there's no cell service. And then when they get back into you know, cell or web server, you know, Wi-Fi, then we can see it. You know, I think that, Rachel, you're looking to just know when the showing's over. Sometimes showings go long. When can your seller go back? Is that part of the question, Rachel?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a control thing for me. I just want to know who's in, you know, when they're in and when they're leaving, you know, for control purposes. And then I love having an electronic record of, you know, so this way I can go back to the seller and without having to manually handwrite down every showing.
Oh,
I think asking people to download an app, that's going to be a tough sell for me. Honestly, with the agents that I deal with in the area here, they're not going to do it. Well, they're going to ask me to go to the house and let them in.
To the point that you just made, you don't have to write anything down, because when you're authorizing it, you're pushing those codes out. Typically, I don't know how you're doing it. I push them out through text to the agent's phone. And then when I push that out to the agent's phone, we know when that event is used. And I don't know if, Kim, on your end, you can do some screen sharing of the app, the back end that we all as agents have access to. You can sign online with the desktop version and see the full access logs. And you can see the one-day access codes that were provided or the Sesntrilock user accesses. Those one-day codes, times in and out, are definitely recorded, not needing to be written down by hand. But it's not in real time. That exit point, if I give someone a 3 o'clock one-day code for today, and let's say behind it I've got a 5 o'clock Sesntrilock user, it wouldn't be until after that 5 o'clock Sesntrilock app user went through, or I went through myself, that it would be picked up that 3 o'clock actually went through the door at 3:05 p.m. and they left at 3:28 if they didn't leave the box open. You know, they accessed it a second time. Does that make sense? Do you understand?
So you, yeah.
I understand, Greg, but this is John Vincent. Why can't we just get it fixed so that when the box is opened, we get notified whether it's a one-day code or not?
Yeah, let me explain why. Because the box capacity, it's a Bluetooth capacity talking to a device that has a data connection. So your mobile phone authenticates that you are still a user every single day through a cellular connection, not Bluetooth, and cellular or data. And so when you're at the physical house, that device is not transmitting all the time. That device, we only have to change our batteries every 3 to 4 years because it's just Bluetooth. So it's not, there's no pipeline, John, for it to go through except someone that accesses through Sesntrilock, using their app and their phone. So it doesn't have to be the listing agent. It can be the next user once that person's, gone in, then you can see that access. And as far as I'm concerned, when I'm looking at my listing activity, I look at it more so on, on showing time. But if there was a security issue that I really needed to drill down into, that's when I go into the back end of Sesntrilock that Kim can show you through screen sharing. And I don't know if that would be a benefit, but there's, John, to answer your question, there's no way for it to have a Wi-Fi. Yeah.
All right, we got 4 Sesntrilock staff on. I would really love to hear your comments on this.
Yeah, I can chime in. I think Greg was really on point with his information there. It is true that the one day codes, as they are generated, they can be assigned to a person as you generate it. So there is an assigned to field, and when you fill out that assigned to field, your access records will show the code that was generated, the time that was generated, and who you assigned it to. That agent would access a lockbox with the one-day code, and any access after the one-day code with the Bluetooth connection would pull the access back and report that in the access log as well. Obviously, at any time, the owner of the lockbox could connect, visit the box, and download a whole record if they wanted to see the actual use of the one-day code in the box. But there isn't a way for the one-day code use to be communicated back without an application connecting via Bluetooth. So I think Greg was right on with his points.
Right. I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if you can see this. I'm just sharing my screen just to show this one piece of information. Greg was exactly correct in that if you're not getting instant notifications. I think that's what Rachel's looking for, is she's wanting to get those notifications pushed to her via the app. That will not happen unless you're using Sesntrilock. However, as mentioned, you can actually go into the access logs, and you can see here one day code used. You can see that, and then after the SentryKey access is made is when that's recorded. But you have to go into the website to see it. It's not manually pushed to you via the app. So it is most certainly there. You're just not able to, you have to go and search for it versus it just showing up in your app, if that makes sense. So I just want to
now,
show
is that
what
what
it looks like.
in your screenshot there? It says one day code used. Does that mean that they accessed it?
It was used. It says one day code generated. That means it was generated but was not actually used. If it's used, it will say used. So you can tell somebody went into the box, but it's not updated in real time until somebody comes in with their app and accesses with their app. So again, the record is definitely there. It's just a difference on whether or not that information is pushed to you right away versus, you have to wait. It's like the reason that we prefer you using the app, because it's in real time information. So
is used and access the same?
Used
and accessed. One above says central key was accessed.
SentryKey access is the app. So one day code is somebody just getting code, punching it into the lockbox, they get in. SentryKey access, it means somebody is using their app to get into that particular lockbox. So that's how you can tell the difference between an app user versus someone just punching in a code. So.
And I would just add that to Rachel's point, there is an additional step around SentryConnect.
Yeah.
They have the person willing to download the app, but that was the solution developed to resolve the more immediate need for notifications on temporary access. So you can accomplish that with SentryConnect, but if you're measuring this on the convenience factor, it's not as convenient as using a one-day code, but the security is tightened around it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, could you tell me where you access that? What you just showed the screen?
So I went in, So I went in, I'll share the screen again. I just didn't want to keep it up. I went into the lockboxes tab, and I'm signed in
Yep.
the association. If you were signed in under you would just go to my lock boxes. And then I made sure to find a
Yep.
property that was assigned. And on this main screen, it says
Yep.
access logs. Click on view. And then I just leave it as is because I just want to show everything. And then I just click view log
Yeah.
right here. So, and
Okay.
this is where you can see, and it shows you, you know, like I said, the difference between a one-day code generated versus a one-day code used. So this is your particular box. I just wanted, because you were the one that asked the question,
Yeah, it is.
log in.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
would-
So,
I would
and I
just-
can do this and we can do this right off our app on the phone. Now, I don't need to go to a desktop version.
So this is on the website. I believe you can view your access logs.
Yes, that's correct. So this same report is also in the SentryKey Real Estate app under your access logs. The only subtle difference is in the app version of this report, it's not color coded like it is on the website, but all the same information would be there.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah, so if you go to,
Okay.
I didn't want to log in as you in my app and then screen share because then but if you go into the app and you go under my, if you click the main
Got
menu
it.
top left, you just go to access logs.
But the big difference with that is the access logs, when you do it that way on the app, I'm not a fan of that necessarily because it's going, it's chronological, it's by date, it's not by
Yeah,
the
it is.
box. But also,
Right.
Rachel, that other section in the site, and I say that the desktop version has a huge, immense value, and I'm sorry for joining this call late, but that's where I go when I'm doing a new listing, and we've had other discussions and recordings about this, and I'll just share right now since we had that open up, if Kim can pull that up. When we're about to go live with a new listing, we have a little bit of latency always with the listing showing up, because if we're in a incomplete status and we're building the listing, hopefully getting our photos and our attachments into the listing, one of the things is the lockbox needs to be, that MLS number needs to get put in here. So what I do is when I'm in a temporary status with a new listing, to avoid getting hammered with the request for one-day codes, well, it doesn't avoid it, but the problem is you have to give out the one-day codes to the real users of the app because it's not showing up yet in the system. I will go under listings first. So Kim, if you go to the right one, I'll build a listing first. When I say build, it's just street address and MLS number. That easy. So over on the, let's see, where's the ad?
Add a listing is at the top.
Oh, there it is right there. Yeah, thank you.
Yep, so if you click add a listing.
Right there, because some of the solutions that like Brian McCarthy and others were doing is they were saying, oh, I'll just assign a box to a land listing that I've got. I'd rather just assign the real one. So I pull the agent, put the MLS number, put the address in, hit save. Then you go over to the lockbox that you're going to be using at the property. You've got it here. And again, housekeeping, you always should check the box, make sure the firmware is up to date. Look at the battery. If you pulled one out of your inventory where the battery's 2016, I'm not waiting. I want a battery that's decent, and we give them to you for free at ECAR. So have your batteries, and you just go to that new box, one of the unassigned ones, and then you can assign the listing. Now, instantly, you don't have to wait. You avoid that latency that happens from when you flip the switch from inactive to active. It's ready to go. 5 minutes after the listing, your Sesntrilock users have access. Does that make sense?
Hey, Greg, one thing I would mention to what you added there, the access logs that you can retrieve from the mobile app, they are all the accesses in chronological order.
Yes.
You can search by lockbox number or listing, and it would eliminate it just to show that listing's information. It would still be in chronological order, but you could look at it for just one listing.
On the app?
On the app, yep, by using the search field there.
Yeah, there's a little search at the very top.
Yeah, I've never done that. Yeah, interesting.
Cool.
We have any brand new users that want to know how to get going on stuff? Is there anybody here that is like a
I
brand
don't
new?
know. Yep, I've never used my phone to access.
Okay, so Kathleen and Mike Zerbini. So have you been set up with Access yet?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think so.
So I'm not sure if there can be any kind of a demonstration or not, or is that just call Stephanie after this? Stephanie, what do you think?
If they're brand new, it's best for them to call so I can get them ready.
Okay.
Because what I'm doing now is the actual app. So I'm just going in, pulling the person up, clicking on that the checkbox, and they're going to get an email to set up their password and PIN code. So it's not something I can show them. And Kathleen, you are a user. You've been a user. You have the system.
Oh, I use the box, but I use this little time.
Just download the app on your phone.
I've got it downloaded. I just don't know how to use it.
Okay. What we can do is anybody who is physically on the system and want some training, we can set up a Zoom meeting and I can show you and walk you through the steps on using the app. It's real simple. It's you just log in and it displays the box. You hit the thing and you're on your way. It's less steps than using the card.
Okay.
Mike,
Yeah,
are you set up or will you be doing the same thing with Stephanie after this call?
I'll call Stephanie.
Yeah, call me and we'll set up to get
Mike,
together.
Mike
And
Zerbini,
anybody
are you
else
gonna
who's
do the
on this,
same?
yeah, and anybody else who's on this call wants to get set up or wants the Zoom training, just let me know.
Okay, that's
Okay.
what I'll do. I'll call Stephanie and we'll set up a time. Thank you.
It's interesting. We've got some brand new people who've never used it and then other specific questions. Freddie, where do you think we should be going today with this? Was there something with the showing assist or concierge or anything like that you want to talk about?
With the showing service, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm definitely, prepared to give you guys a presentation in regards to that. Like you said, I wanted to open up the floor at the beginning to kind of talk to see what those questions were around the showing service, but looks like we went down the lockbox path. So, I mean, if you have any questions right now that you would like to have answered or that you would like to, at least hear about, please, inform me now, or I can just go straight to the presentation.
Greg Hanner, before Freddie goes into that presentation, was there any, what was the issue with the showing service that is not worth doing here?
Yeah, well,
Talk about that.
Yeah, let me just address that. The scheduling system, with Smart MLS, we have built right into through Matrix showing time. And, to me, it's built right into the listing that my buyer's looking at. I click that one button, push it. It seems like to me, that the showing scheduling ability would need to be integrated into the MLS. And now we're going to have two of them. I just stick with showing. Every agent I know uses showing time for scheduling. And the other thing about that showing time is when I leave a property, now this is a courtesy thing. When I leave a property, there is that option to hit that button and say sellers can return home. So I just didn't see the need for another tool of scheduling. Yes, it's, you could put it out there. I just didn't see value because we already have something that really works well.
Yep. And I understand that. I guess I have to ask you one question or a couple questions if you don't mind.
Yeah.
When it comes to the showing time aspect that you're using that's integrated with the Smart MLS, is it a separate app that you have to use when it comes to that?
It is totally a separate app. Well, it's a separate app from a standpoint of when I get to the property, I'm looking at the showing instructions and, if it's, if I say, oh, okay, it's not a manual one day, if it's not a manual lockbox, and I see, quite frankly, if I see SupraBox or Sesntrilock, then I just open up the corresponding app to blow through that door and get in.
Definitely. So I want to pose you this question as well. Would it be easier for you to go through the process of opening up the key compartment and doing the scheduling, all the other things that you have when it comes to a showing service in one platform, rather than having to go through multiple?
Well, the problem about it is that unless I were to, well, no, I have to say it wouldn't be more convenient because of the fact that I don't initiate showings off of the Sesntrilock app. The Sesntrilock app is something that I'll fire when I get to the property. When I'm scheduling showings singular, or I'm building a cart of showings, Showing Time is the app integrated into the MLS dashboard. So where I'm printing out, I'm pulling my disclosures, sending them to my, saving a tree and sending them to my buyers. I'm printing the hard copy of the listing that I bring with me to the showing. And, if I'm building a cart with the number of showings together, I'll put them together and then I'll time everything out to work right, because it's calculating the drive time and it's all integrated into the MLS. So I would not fire my Showing Time app, my Sesntrilock app up to do that.
Yep. So yeah, just to let you know, so the use of our system and the reason that we actually built this, everything that you kind of just said is going to be incorporated into the CentriKey real estate app that you already use today. So you're able to do the process of making those appointments. You're able to build your itinerary, is what we're calling it on our end, with a cart of the showings that you have that you've already scheduled for that day. When you're going through that process, it does use Google Routes, which is going to show you a timed out schedule of how to get to each of these showings that you have, that you're going to have for appointments. And then also, like I said, it's all under one platform. So, it makes it easier for you to go through that process of the day. And you can do the scheduling not only from the web, but you can also do that from your mobile app. As a lot of people are not tied to their desks anymore, with a lot of people on the move, but with COVID, it's a little different.
So Freddie, is it integrated with Showing Time?
We can integrate with Showing Time, yes.
Yeah, because the key thing is a lot of listing agents, take my buyer's agent hat off, put my listing agent hat on. My listing activity reports are being generated through Showing Time. If I'm wanting to share, days and times and where we're at, big pictures type of stuff with sellers. So on the receiving end, the listing agent, what would they be seeing if you could, address that, and how would that work with the listing agent that's not even a Sesntrilock user?
Yep. Let me do this. I'll share my screen and I'll actually just go through this presentation.
Great.
A little bit of a rundown to show you exactly what it looks like on our end. I don't know how much time I have. Susie, if you'd like to tell me.
Typically it's 12 to 1, but
okay.
Go ahead.
I should be able to shoot through this pretty fast then. Let me share my screen if you want to bear with me for 1 second. And let me know when you do have that and you do see it on your end. Okay, so I'm going to go past the old introductory phase and get straight into it. As you know, because Sesntrilock's been around since 2003. We're owned by the National Association of Realtors. I'll keep going. I'm sorry. I'll just get to the meat and bones of it. But the key highlights that I'd like to kind of talk about that's going to happen throughout this presentation is going to be around that ease of use, how this is going to be a productivity tool that you're going to be able to use on a day-to-day basis, to take down the amount of apps that you're going to be using throughout the day, to have it all under one platform. So this is a very mobile first design that we're looking to utilize because, like I said, a lot of people are not going to be tethered to the desk anymore. They're out and about, they're using their phones, and they're making sure that they're able to be available at any point in time without having to be behind the desk or at his computer itself. We are going to be fully integrated with your lockbox system. So not only will you be able to see that on the website that you're already using today, but also the CentriKey real estate app that you're already using today as well. SAM is going to be a new leveraging tool that we're going to be using when it comes to the assistance. The CentriKey Assistant for Mobile is what SAM stands for, where she's going to be able to help you out throughout the process when it comes to the scheduling of your appointments, making sure that you're on time for those appointments to either get to the appointment or to get to the next one as well. And then also we are making sure that the pricing model that we have that's lined up is going to be set so you don't get penalized for your success. So the more that you sell, the price is not going to change. It's kind of different for other showing services that are out there today. And we're just making sure that you are able to keep the money in your pocket that you're going to make. So this is kind of a basic look at the dashboard of what it is when you first log into the website. On here, it does show, you know, a different look that you're probably not familiar with, but it is the new redesign that we are looking to do when it comes to the use of our system. So you would always start off your day by going to My Schedule. Once you are in My Schedule and you click on Dashboard, this is what you're going to see. So here you'll see a color-coded outline of exactly what your day looks like, your today, tomorrow, or you can look back in the past. It does show the showings that I have or the showings that are on your listing. If you look at the color coordination, it is a confirmed appointment, a not confirmed appointment, or canceled appointment that you have that's on there for you to look at and to be able to look through. And say, for instance, you were to look at the one on 125 Liberty Way, you can go ahead and see that this is a confirmed appointment. You can see the listing agent that's going to be listing that particular property. You can see that appointment information and the request that you had made. And also see other things about the property itself, of course, about the location and the listing status. And this is going to be a high-level view of what your calendar would look like throughout the week. So you can go through the week or the month process here, and you can honestly just click on these properties that you have that are scheduled. That gives you a better look as to what it is that you're going to be doing for that day. So of course you can see, you know, what that listing is, where that is, and you can click there for more details or view it in a PDF form. Also with the details for the appointments that you're going to be visiting with your clients, you can actually see the showing instructions that are going to be associated with that listing itself. So if you have, you know, it's a Sesntrilock lockbox, the duration of the showing is going to be 120 minutes. You have standard instructions to knock before you enter, to turn off the lights before you leave, or to leave a business card on the table, and other additional information that you can put in manually, and also the alarm codes that are be associated with the house itself. And this also, like I said, you kind of have a little bit of a detail of the listings that you're going to be visiting that day on your calendar there. And you can also send a message directly to the listing agent to tell them, you know, before or after or during, you know, the showing that you're going to around that property if they have any questions or concerns. The single scheduling aspect of this is going to show you exactly how you're able to set up this and go through the process of making the connection with the clients that you may be working with. I don't know if I made the mention of the Client Connect app, but that's something I'm going to touch on here momentarily. But you're able to, you know, have a client roster that you're able to assign to the properties that you're going to be looking to show them, and also make the scheduling for the appointment here. So if you go to the calendar and you're able to click on this date, a time range, and then also the duration and the appointment type, a first, second, or third showing, possibly appraisal period of that as well, and also the final walkthrough and some of the options that you have. Now, if you look below here, it does have the ability for the build itinerary and to schedule now. If you go through the process of scheduling now, it'll then go to the listing agent, and they'll see this on their end. So on their end, they have the review request. If you look here, once it is hit that the listing agent's the listing agent's schedule, they'll be able to see this. They'll be able to either confirm or deny this appointment as it's come through from the listing agent or the showing agent that is requesting the showing itself. Now, if you were to build yourself an itinerary and you had multiple showings that you wanted to show for one day for a client, you can build this up here. So we do have a starting point. So say, for instance, I had 3 showings that are going to happen today. I wanted to make an itinerary that's going to be starting at the first address that we're going to go see, or I can make it at a different address. Say, for instance, a Starbucks is where we want to meet up before we go on our adventure to go look at the listings for their future home. You can also edit the time as well. So if I was to start the build, I would go through the process of basically putting on those properties that I'm looking at or that the client has been interested in and shown that they want to see. Once I build that, you can go through the process of adding that to your itinerary. And then once you've added all those to your itinerary, you can then click Create Route. So once you've created the route, it's going to use our Google Google Routes app that we do have that's going to be embedded in our background that's going to help you to give you a better look as to which properties you should go to first, what the traffic patterns may be for those listings, and the times that you have set for the appointments that you're going to be visiting. So this does actually have the capability also in the app. You'll see all of these things where you're able to do all of these things at the same time as well, and also use your native map app that you have in your phone. So if you have Google Maps that you wanted to use, you can go ahead and click Get Directions. And once you do that, it'll then pull up in that native app that you're using for your maps. Also, a simple setup for the listings that you have and the appointment settings that you wanted to put on for any of the listings that you own. So if you look here, you have access by appointment, which is going to be something that can be enabled at the association level to essentially give you the opportunity to make sure that all of your showings need to have an appointment before they're able to happen. And these times, I don't know if double bookings is going to be, a big plus for people, with the restrictions that may be going on in your state, maybe not.
It's a big issue, actually. There are overlapping appointments that are making our members kind of upset.
Yes, so you can definitely go through that process of allowing or not allowing that by toggling that on or off. You can use these auto confirm showing acceptance. So if you did want to, essentially anything that comes through or anyone that's looking for an appointment at one of your listings and you want it just to be auto accepted, you can turn that on. And then you can actually make rules to that so that every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 to 5, you don't want to have you don't want to have people to come in, or you can have it at the adverse where you can't allow people to come in between those times. The restrictions you can add to that as well. And then, the appointment mode. So there's the types of appointments that you wanted to have for those, the maximum amount of time that you wanted for the showing, and then also who responds. So you can have the home seller, the buyer, the listing agent, whoever it is, the client themselves that you want to have for the response to those showing requests. This is continued on, so you kind of saw the instructions that I had on there before, but this is for you setting this up for that listing itself. So like I said, you can put it on there to knock before you enter, to remove your shoes before you come in. You can set up the type of lockbox that's going to be on the property. It can be a Sesntrilock Bluetooth box. It could be one of the NXT wirelesses. It could be even, a combo box if needed, depending on what you're using, but let's keep it all Sesntrilock. And then the alarm instructions that you can associate with that as well. And then also the additional information, there's a dog that's in the backyard, make sure that you're not showing that.
Can you set it up so that an automatic one-day code can be given out, like the concierge?
Devin would have to answer that question for me, if Devin's still on the call.
Yep, on the call. I don't believe it's currently set up to automatically issue a one-day code. If there's
That's a big thing our members want.
Yeah, let me look into that.
Right now, is it Showing Time Assist that has the concierge where you pay a fee for that ability? I don't use any of this, so I'm not very well versed on it, but can you speak to that? You're muted.
There we go. I know Marilyn Lusher and Brian both use it. Brian up north was the first to use that. The question that came up, while you were speaking, Freddie, is I assume that both people on the list, the buyer's agent and the listing agent, have to be both Sesntrilock users for this really to be a great system, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so see, the thing about it is, if you guys penetrate Hartford, New Haven, our lives are going to be so much in a better place because you already got Rhode Island. So the problem that I see is that, and this is, Susie, where I said I didn't see the value because we don't have the adoption of Sesntrilock to the extent that even we'd like to see in our own membership. So to have a scheduling system which requires the requester and the grant, the person that grants the access, it doesn't work. Right now, in the listings, when I go to set up a listing,
just to clarify, so the requester could make the request through the MLS. So we would have our icon on there. So even if they weren't a Sesntrilock user, if they had access to the MLS, they could still request a showing through that system.
Okay, so could you repeat that again? So if I'm a buyer or if I'm the buyer's agent requesting, say that, Devin?
Correct. So they could come in through the MLS and they would see the icon to request a schedule through that. So you can do a single schedule through the MLS without being a full Sesntrilock user.
Inside of Smart MLS in Matrix?
Correct. That's something that we would have to build out on, but it is being built out for every client that adopts this, the one click to schedule in the MLS.
Okay. So, because right now I don't even see it in the Smart MLS. And right now, Smart MLS, what they've got is the listing agent, they have to put in what the showing instructions are, and those showing instructions, I just say at the beginning, hey, the first field I do use showing time, and then it's the little icon that everybody has. Then I have my detailed instructions, download the disclosures. Next thing is if you're not Sesntrilock, I need to know, and I'll issue a 1-day code. But that component is already built in there with those instructions, and the carts, we could build the same mapping out. I'm just seeing the difficulty is the fact that if I'm going to show a house in Madison and I want to go and see, first off, there's got to be a latency component to this. If something went under deposit last night and Sentry hasn't even updated, I'm going to schedule right out of the MLS. I'm not going to open Sentry.
What does it take for this to get integrated with MLS? I'm a little bit at a loss here. So we're being shown this cool thing, but if it's not integrated with the MLS, it's not as cool. And you said something about if we opt in for it. What does that all mean?
So this is a separate licensing contract. So this is something that the association has to purchase. And then we would integrate it into the MLS once someone has decided to partner with us on this.
Oh, had no idea.
Right, and there's be a cost. There would be
if I had known that.
And there's a cost to it too.
Committee would have to consider whether we were going to be bringing that on or not. I just thought that was a feature that is already available. No idea.
Well, and the other thing is the cost. Right now we have showing time, which we all use. Actually, I'll say the Supra users and the Sesntrilock users, we all can talk to each other through showing time and schedule our stuff. And the cost is zero because it's already a tool that we all use.
And just being completely transparent, I mean, from everything that you've kind of told me, I mean, I wouldn't say that this solution is really like an ideal situation for your association. Like if you already have a very high adoption of showing time in place, I would definitely see this as an alternative for associations that are maybe even looking to consolidate or have some cost savings. Or mostly this is positioned for associations who don't have a showing service already in place that's widely adopted.
Yeah, and that's what my understanding of it was, and that's why I was saying it seems like it'd be a duplicate tool because nobody's going to give up showing time. And I'm talking ease of use, one click. Literally, I have it set to fire a text to me, and I see the agent's name, I see the day and time, and all I do is type the letter Y, and I confirm that appointment, and all my showing instructions fly out the door. So I don't have to open an app. I have texting that comes right to me and boom, I'm done. It is slick. I'm not going to say, and I think it would be awesome from a standpoint if you guys go after showing time, but you'd have, and try to go head to head with them, but you got to get in Connecticut, GHAR, Behave, and the two big ones, because, the Supra box is still a dumb box. It's a blue box with no keys on the outside. It's got an on off from the bottom. You push the button to wake it up. You guys use the enter key, you push the bottom. I have to have both apps because I go into, areas that are both boxes are used. Rachel's up in an area where she's got the issue of they use what they used 100 years ago, the floor mat, the front door mat. They leave the key underneath it, right? So,
and Greg,
I think that's
right. Just so I understand clearly, that your current showing time service is a service that is provided to all your agents in Eastern Connecticut through Smart MLS.
Correct.
It's provided to all 17,000 agents in the entire state of Connecticut.
Yep.
Not just our agents. We have it as part of our, what is it, $26 a month we pay for our MLS access. Whatever our MLS access, it is included in that bucket of tools.
So it's Smart MLS that we would assume has the agreement with Showing Time at this point to provide the service across the state.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep.
And they're not going to be bringing this on unless there is a shift in other associations and Smart MLS who offer Supra. So this, I had no idea this was kind of a sales presentation on this part of what Sesntrilock is, which at this point, I apologize, is of no value to the people on the call or to you guys. So before we end, there are a couple of our members on here. Mike, I don't know if you had any other questions other than how the hell do I use this, which Stephanie is going to answer for you. Dawn or Lorna or Kathleen, as brand new people, do you have any other questions for Sesntrilock as long as they're on the call for a few more minutes? Otherwise, Stephanie will assist you independently.
I'm good.
Hey,
Lorna, you're muted.
Am I muted?
No, Lorna was muted. I know she was talking. Still muted.
Still muted.
Yeah, I'll unmute.
There you go.
Well, thank you. No, I've been using, the showing time and the key and everything. So now there's a new aspect that I can look into to help me out, but I just can't log in. It won't. I'm logged into the key, but I'm not logged into this. The other. I can't get in. So I'm going to ask Stephanie. I've already sent her an email.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Stephanie's got her afternoon ahead of her.
Yeah, and let me just toss something out there. I think I know where my card is. You're saying that you've been using your card?
No. I've been using. I'm on. I'm looking at my app now. My Sentry key. I go in and open up my box and I do everything on that. I've been using that, but this Sentry Connect, whatever that's a separate. I can't get into that. I'm only on the key, Sentry key.
Yeah, let me pop mine open. And the one thing, Stephanie, if you're not I use my phone so I can when I screen share, I can drop my phone up on the screen. I think it's going to be hugely important for folks to be able to see the app, the real screen. So Sentry Key is the only thing that you really need to use. And
okay.
the cool thing about it is I have not used my card. I know where it is.
Oh, I don't even know.
It's in my, I think it's in my glove compartment. Yeah. And but that card is worthless unless it's been updated, meaning I've slid the card into the reader. The app is the hot ticket, guys. The app is where everything works. You shackle, release, set the,
right.
One thing about, couple things about the app, Greg and Freddie. I see if you go and touch your screen and the app doesn't move, I'm on Android, but if the app doesn't respond, I just look at my apps, I swipe up, kill it, reopen it, and then it's fine. So once in a while, I just want to share experience that when the app freezes or it doesn't, you might move, but it's not responding. You can't get any buttons. I just swipe up. Do we still have the problem with Apple? I want to ask this because I thought in one of the first things I learned about this was Android calls home every day automatically, no problem. But if someone's in the quiet corner up by Rachel and they're going to go and show a property and they're an Apple user and they did not open up Sesntrilock Sentry Key for 2 weeks and they get out to a no service area, they are going to have a problem, aren't they, with iPhone, because they haven't opened the app in the last 24 hours. They need to open the app before they leave Wi-Fi or cellular. Otherwise, they're going to be calling the customer support to get through that front door. Correct? Freddie's shaking his head yes.
We still recommend that as a very good practice. Although if you do have auto app refresh in the background, those credentials can be updated without actually opening the app. But a lot of users don't have that on. So just as a practice, if you're going out to an area, we do suggest connecting to the app before you would go out.
And just connecting means open the app, because your auto sign on. One of the features that I love that you guys added to this was I don't have to hit my code anymore.
Yep.
It's my fingerprint right on the back of my phone. Boom. I touch the back of my phone.
Guys, on that note, we are going to have to close this episode. There is a committee meeting starting at 1, and unfortunately, we only have one Zoom account to host so many people.
Just real
thank
quick,
you,
Susie.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate the time.
Thank you,
Bye, everybody.
Sesntrilock. Thank you, members, for joining us. And Stephanie will be in touch with you guys to get your apps going. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Bye. Bye.